Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we returned from the moon, and that of course got us a bunch of contract parameters, a bunch of money, and a bunch of science. So that is absolutely wonderful, but the question now is, what next? A new surface outpost on the moon. I did say that we probably wanted to do something like this as a very minor sort of outpost on the moon to learn how the outpost systems with these mods work. So that might not be a bad thing to do. We can take that, plant a flag on the moon. That's something that can just happen at the same time. This is Flyby Minmus. Build a new surface outpost on Minmus. That feels a little much. We could do it. It probably wouldn't take very much. It would just need a facility supporting at least 5 Kerbals, have a docking port, can generate power. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. Surface deployed mystery goo observations. This is something we're almost certainly going to do. So we can take that. Excellent. And then beyond that, we probably want to upgrade our R&D at this point. So let's go ahead and do that one. And what else are we interested in here? Well, advanced electrics would be a good thing to take. We'll take that one. Precision engineering would give us access to the weather analyzer, which isn't very useful where we're going, but, you know, it'll be fine. We can take that one. Now, advanced exploration here. This gives us, like, container modules. This is pretty okay. Davy Kerman's guitar, apparently. We can only take one of these. I'm kind of leaning towards getting access to the mainsail for right now. So we can do that, and then we can hop into the VAB, and we can make some modifications to our lander. So, that surface outpost, right? The surface outpost. That would basically be, we take this Mooner lander, we upgrade this skipper up to a mainsail, right? So from here, we would do like that. This is now going to be a lot more powerful here. 1.84 thrust to weight. So this is probably even a little too much power. We could thrust limit some of these external ones down to, I don't know, maybe like 60% thrust? 1.44? Okay, maybe like 75. Yeah, that's about right. So that looks pretty okay. And that's going to be a lot better thrust to weight, so that's fine. We would need a facility that contains at least 5 Kerbals. So what I'm thinking about doing here is this surface outpost, it would need to have an antenna, a docking port, and can generate power. This surface outpost on Minmus would not be intended to actually remain on Minmus. So we need at least 2 pilots, maintain stability, have a facility supporting at least 5 Kerbals. We need to have an antenna, have a docking port, and be able to generate power. Okay, so what I'm thinking then is we can just slap a docking port on here. We could just do one docking port, like on here, or we can just go like this. This is fine. And then as far as an antenna goes, this should be probably a retractable communitron, which this guy we could slap in somewhere in... We could maybe put this in the service bay. And have that just go kind of like that. Okay, so it would have an antenna, and then we would need to be able to support 5 Kerbals. So we can support 2 in here. So we need to be able to support an additional 3. An EL survey station would have a crew capacity of 4. This would have a workshop in it. This is way bigger than what I want to carry. So a crew cabin would carry 2. This is pretty tall. And we'd need another crew capacity. I have a dumb idea. I have a really, really, really dumb idea. what would happen? Oh, we don't have the external seat. I was going to say, what would happen if we put 3 external seats in the service bay and just don't put Kerbals in them? Or we only put Kerbals in 1, maybe. Something like that. That's not really a great option. Now, we've got the Mark II command pod here that has a crew capacity of 2 as well. There's a pomegranate re-entry module. So, the pomegranate, in terms of size, might be our best bet here. Okay, so let's do something like this for now. And then detach this. Take this out of here, put this here, go like this, and then have these back up top. So it'd be something like this. This now can carry 3 Kerbals. So if we wanted to carry 5, then we would need to do this. Now, I wouldn't actually put 5 Kerbals in this. This would be empty for the time being. So this would just be for landing on Minmus, completing the contract, and then getting out of here, right? So we would need to be in here, like this. Again, it's quite tall. I don't necessarily love it, but this should qualify for building a surface outpost on Minmus, quote-unquote. We would do it differently for the moon because this would be a real surface outpost where we're trying to learn the mechanics. But if we do it this way, then we can do our flyby of Minmus, and then we can see about maybe getting other Minmus contracts before we go any further on that. So that's the overall concept. Now, we need to have at least 2 pilots in here. We want to bring Bob. He's our only scientist. So we're not going to bring Bill. Instead, we're going to bring Valentina. Like this. Okay, so 2 pilots. The facility can support at least 5 Kerbals, but we don't need to have 5 Kerbals. Let's put this out on the pad. And let's go do a flyby of Minmus. And then once we have achieved the flyby of Minmus, the question is, can we just adapt that into an orbit contract as well? And then adapt that into a landing contract? All with 1 flight. I don't know. Maybe the game won't let us do that, but we'll give it a go. Okay, so SAS on, throttle up, and off we go with that sweet, sweet mainsail. We'll have no problem whatsoever with thrust to weight at this juncture. So that seems absolutely great. Our burn time is going to be a little on the lower side because our thrust to weight is going to be significantly higher, and that's understood. So this is all looking fine for now. We're going to just go straight up for the moment until our apoapsis is somewhere around... Probably I'm going to do about 20. So everything is looking nominal. This is not intended to be a simulation flight, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. So we've got about 35 seconds of burn time left here. Apoapsis is currently about 13 kilometers. 15. 17. And that's 20 kilometers. I'm going to start getting us a bit of a gravity turn here. This is turning a little bit more than I wanted it to. Okay. Not using Smart ASS for the moment, so just go ahead and lock us to prograde at this time. We've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stage separation. Excellent. We're having a bit of a hard time staying locked to prograde. I wonder if Smart ASS would do a better job of that. Orbital prograde, please. Not exactly. We're kind of bouncing. This is due to, looks like, some bendiness up over here. That's not ideal, but it'll go away. So that seems relatively fine for now. Our apoapsis is actually very, very high for right now. So let's just turn this off for the moment. And let's get pure horizontal at this juncture. And we'll go to an apoapsis height of about 200 or so. We need a lot of horizontal speed, and that's fine. But yeah, we got a lot more vertical speed out of this than I was expecting. That's fine. We will adjust our ascent trajectory later. But yeah, there's definitely some bendiness to this rocket, but it should be fine. So yeah, like I said, about 200. And we'll be at 200 now. Okay. So that looks good for the moment, and at this juncture, we're just going to head up to the apoapsis, and we're going to circularize this. So this is obviously not necessarily an ideal ascent trajectory for this thrust to weight, but that's understood. We'll walk to the node. We can also probably turn off the gimbaling, or at least turn down the gimbal limit on this engine. That's probably a big part of what was creating that. So that seems fine for now, and we're only going to have a very small amount of burn out of this. So most of the circularization is going to come from this stage at this point. That seems okay. So we're currently about 3 minutes away from this burn. We'll warp forward to that as soon as we're roughly in position, which I would argue we're roughly there. Cool. And now we've got about 1 minute, so let's just get ourselves a little closer. 40, 30, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay, so once again, I'm going to cut the gimbal limit of this guy down to about 30% to cut down on that oscillation. That looks about right. Nice and solid. Excellent. So now we just need to get ourselves accelerated up into circularization of this orbit. We're still technically suborbital at this point because our ascent trajectory was too vertical. There's no doubt about that, but it's okay. So Minmus has a bit of an inclination to it, and we did not launch into an inclination. I'm actually not sure what our current inclination is. We could find out, but I don't care that much, to be honest. It's fine. We'll get there. So the idea behind this is we're just going to go do a flyby of Minmus, and then we would need to return from a flyby of Minmus. Yeah. So we want to check our contracts again after that. Now, we are in orbit at this juncture, and I'm just watching that periapsis come on up. This is close enough to being circularized, so that looks great. At this point, what we want to do is we want to set Minmus as our target. There we go. And this descending node is 5.4 degrees. Okay, so let's head over to the descending node, and let's see. I can never remember which direction we need to go. I guessed correctly. Fantastic. That was a pure guess. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there we go. So about 200 meters per second. Sure, we should have plenty of DV for this. We're going to have to use some of this fuel on the way over there, but that's fine. I'm deeply, deeply unconcerned about that. We could have launched into the correct trajectory, but no real need to. So we can see here, we're definitely seeing the bending happening here. I'm hoping that will... It's reduced, I think, from where it was before. I'm hoping that it will fully go away once we get rid of this mass back here. But this is probably just due to this guy right here, which I would have preferred to not have. We'll not have that in future flights. So that seems absolutely fine for now. This burn is going to be in about 14 minutes, so let's warp our way around to that here momentarily. As soon as we finish wiggling our way over, we'll get there soon. Okay, let's go. So we'll get our inclination change done. We could probably do this without the inclination change, but this is fine. We know that we have plenty of DV for this. So let's get a little closer. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. We do a lot less wiggling when our engines are lit. That's definitely good to know. So this should put us into approximately the correct inclination here. Emphasis on approximately. 2.8 meters per second. Okay. We'll call that good enough. And just kill rot for now. Okay, so this inclination, yeah, 0.0. That looks solid. So Minmus is currently out over here. That is absolutely noted. Let's add a maneuver here, and let's push this guy right on out to be somewhere over this direction. Yeah, that's pretty close. Timing isn't quite what we want, though. That's looking a lot better. So this Minmus periapsis is 383 kilometers. We're going to want that to be lower. I'm not sure what it is now. This is not exactly saying. That's not necessarily great. 21 kilometers. That seems good. Okay, we'll lock to that node, and we'll just wiggle our way on over there. As we have less fuel here, it should wiggle less. But as I said, this is very tall. I probably should have strutted this here, but it's fine for now. We'll definitely be able to land on Minmus with this. I just want to double check here. Yeah, we definitely qualify for this. All we need to do is land that on Minmus, but we want to do the flyby contract first and then go see if we can grab any other contracts. So that'll be good for now. We'll start this burn in about 3 minutes, so let's be in position here, which is pretty close. And we've got about another minute here. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay, so we're still going to be wiggling a little bit, but we're going to burn out this fuel. This is definitely going to be useful for us. As we can see, most of our trip out to Minmus will get dealt with by this. We're just in a slightly awkward situation because of that ascent profile, but it's okay. We've got more than enough Delta V to land on Minmus and make it back. So that all seems good for now. We've got about another 120 meters per second left in our transfer stage. And that is done as of now. Okay. Excellent. So now, of course, we're pulling fuel from this stage. This is intended to be our landing stage, but for now, all we need to do is we need to get into the sphere of influence of Minmus. Actually, I just realized we have to return from a flyby of Minmus here. I mean, we can definitely do it in multiple flights. We could do that and address the wiggling issue. I think that's fine. Yeah, that's completely fine. We could do it in multiple flights. This is just a little overkill. So for now, that seems reasonably fine. We've got these contracts that we're working on, but yeah, I think we'll just do the flyby because I think we can get more contracts out of this Minmus portion if we do it this way, if we do it this different way than what I was planning. So this is not going to be a landing mission. We're not even going to enter orbit of Minmus. We're just going to fly by, and then we'll go to the apoapsis, drop this down, radial retrograde burn, and in we go. Seems good. We can consider this kind of a test flight. And we can also see how our life support handles it. So that should be reasonably fine as well. So it's definitely a little heavier, no doubt about that. And I would prefer not to be burning this fuel at this point, for sure. So we could think about souping up the... Well, I think just changing our ascent profile would probably make a big difference here. Because that ascent profile was definitely extreme. So we're down to about 30 meters per second here. Now 20, 15, 10, and... Okay. Yeah, we can see we're definitely wiggling a lot less now. It's not wiggling, but it's certainly less. Okay, kill rot. And how are we looking here? I mean, this is good enough. This is a pretty high periapsis, but I'm fine with it. And in fact, The periapsis here is pretty decent. So yeah, this is fine for just a flyby mission. We can warp up over this direction. That'll be about 5 days. Our electricity was depleted. It's constantly going up and down. That's exciting. So I'm watching our oxygen, water, food here. It's definitely going down faster, and part of this, of course, is because we have 3 people here instead of 2, right? So that's absolutely noted, and our electricity is depleted because of our current orientation. So that is fine for now. Let's just make our way into the Minmus encounter. I'm going to turn off the Smart ASS. I'm just going to orient us over this direction. Okay. So right about here. Kill that rotation. There we go. Now we should get ourselves some good electric charge. So let's warp on up over this direction. Yeah, we're full on electric charge now. That's what I want to see. Okay, so let's make our way into this Minmus encounter. We're not going to be entering orbit of Minmus, we've decided. I want to just get the flyby contract completed before we do the other stuff. So that'll be fine for now. And we might need to do an orbit as well. So for now, we need to grab our data here. So let's do all of this. And then we'll need to do our EVA report and get our resets done. Those are a lot further down now. That's understood. And we're going to need to collect all of this data. Perfect. Now we're going to have Bob EVA, and he's going to grab an EVA report, and then he can let go and fly back over this direction. Okay, there we go. We'll open up our service bay, and we're going to restore the Science Junior and restore the Mystery Goo Containment Unit. We'll conduct the material study and observe the Mystery Goo. And then we are going to collect the data and restore, and collect the data and restore. Now we'll come in and store that data in our capsule here. That is not what I wanted you to do, Bob. Go ahead and hop in. There you go. Perfect. And now we can store this data in its originating space. Perfect. That is the maximum amount of data that we can get at this point from Minmus, so that looks good. And this will be good for our data as well if we do this in multiple trips. So at this point, we can just cruise on by. We'll hop over to the periapsis. I'm not sure what direction. Oh, there we go. Hi, Minmus. We'll be back for you. But for now, we're just passing through. Excellent. Let's get out of here. Okay, we are hopping over into the other sphere of influence now. So heading down this direction. That's going to be in 6 days. This is going to be in 12 days. So that means we're coming down on this side. So currently, our periapsis is 135 kilometers. I'm okay with that, actually. So that means that I want to warp around to here. So I'm keeping an eye on our life support here. That's not looking great on the life support. So this is still 4 days away. Our life support is dropping fast. So that's good to know. Keep in mind, we also changed these over to being the... this is a supplies hex can here, and this is a waste hex can. So I think it's clear that we need more supplies hex cans than waste hex cans. These guys might end up dying. I mean, they'll walk it off. But yeah, I'm not very happy with our current life support situation. That's definitely noted. This is surprising to me. We dropped like from here to here in like 2 days. So that's very exciting. These guys may end up dying here, but we'll still recover the craft, and they'll just walk it off. They'll show up eventually. So that seems reasonably fine. We're learning the limits of this, right? So let's go ahead and warp into about here. And yeah, I'm definitely watching that life support dwindle on down. Yikes. Okay. So our food and water is depleted. There, they've died of oxygen deprivation. That's fine. We do have a mech jeb installed in here, so we can recover this and still get the science, at least. The crew definitely had some issues. So we've definitely learned that these are weighted approximately 2 to 1, right? So the waste supplies, we only need about half of the other supplies. So that's definitely good to know. So that weighting is understood, and at this point, we're just going to come in to about here. And we can't add a menu. Oh, right. We can't do this because we're control locked. But we do have smart ASS. So what we can do is we can lock to retrograde, and we can warp in here. There we go. So we're going to bring this back via autopilot, but we'll recover their bodies, and they'll walk it off. They'll wake up. They'll come out of hibernation after a little while. That's fine. Kerbals hibernate when they are in extreme situations. They're a lot like water bears that way. So let's go ahead and burn this down. Apparently we can't throttle up. We have no crew control. This has a mech jeb in it, though. That's interesting. Yeah, this has a mech jeb. I'm surprised that we don't have control then. Interesting. So that's good to know. Can we use mech jeb specifically to do something here? Change the periapsis at the next apoapsis. No. Do this after a fixed time of 0 seconds. Change the new periapsis to 60 kilometers. Can it do that? It throttled this up, but it's not actually burning. That's interesting. So we might have to send a rescue mission to this. Good to know. The other thing we could do is we could clear the input blocker and be like, this should work. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. Because if we did that, we can clear the input blocker. There's one of these over here. I think it's this one. So all input locks are now cleared. And abort this node execution. I'm still not entirely clear why this engine isn't firing. We have no crew control. That's probably why at this point. So I think we're going to have to send a rescue mission. That seems fine. So let's hop back to the Space Center. And what would a rescue mission look like? That's an interesting question. That's a very interesting question. Because we don't have a... We don't have life support in there. We could maybe attach a new life support module with Kerbal engineering. That's a theoretical option. So this would be a much, much lighter craft, in theory. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to send a craft up with the idea being that we are going to rescue that craft and recover the hibernating bodies of our Kerbals. That will be absolutely fine. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including, I didn't switch to the scene in time. Let's give this a moment. Including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.